Have you ever found yourself scrolling on your phone, looked up and realized an hour just disappeared? Or have you ever thought about something and then boom, an ad for it pops up in your feed? Well, I'm here to tell you it's not magic and it's definitely not an accident. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the hidden forces that build your social media experience. You know the feeling. We all do it. You pick up your phone just to check one thing, and the next thing you know, you're deep in a rabbit hole of cat videos and cooking tutorials. We spend so much time consuming this stuff, but how often do we actually stop and ask, who's in the driver's seat here? Who's deciding what I see? And maybe even more important, what I don't see? And that really is the big question, isn't it? When you're scrolling through your feed, do you feel like you're in control? Like you're making the choices? Or does it sometimes feel like you're being led on a journey by an invisible hand? It's a huge question about our own agency in this digital world. To get to the bottom of that, we have to talk about the main character in this whole story, the algorithm. These things are basically the invisible gatekeepers of our online lives. They're the ones deciding what grabs our attention and what just gets lost in the noise. Now, I know the word algorithm can sound super technical and kind of intimidating, but honestly, the idea behind it is pretty simple. The easiest way to think about it, just picture a recipe for your favorite cake. That's all it is, a set of instructions to get a very specific result. So let's break down this digital recipe, shall we? First, you've got the input. Those are the ingredients, and guess what? The ingredients are you. All your data, every single click, every like, every second you pause on a video. Then comes the processing. That's the recipe itself, the complex code that's analyzing everything you do. And the output? Well, that's the finished cake, served up piping hot just for you, your perfectly curated social media feed. And that brings us to maybe the most important point. What's the key ingredient in that recipe? It's you. It's your data. It's your attention. There's this old saying that is truer now than ever. On these free platforms, your digital self is the actual product being bought and sold. You know, this whole system creates a pretty interesting trade-off. On one hand, the benefit is awesome. Algorithms can be incredible at helping you discover a new band you love or a hobby you never knew you needed. But the drawback? It can trap you in what we call a filter bubble. If all you ever see and like is stuff from one point of view, the algorithm might just stop showing you anything that challenges it. And that can really narrow your worldview. So if the whole point of the algorithm is to keep us engaged, we really got to ask, what does that word even mean? We tend to throw around likes and shares as the ultimate sign of engagement, but the truth is actually way, way more complicated. Let's break this down with an analogy. Think about potential reach. Imagine a giant grocery store. It's massive, but just because you're inside, you're not going to see every single item on every shelf, right? Your feed is exactly like that. You only see a tiny slice of what's out there. And then you have interactivity, a quick like or a share. We think it means someone really connected with the content. But a lot of the time, it's just a surface-level tap on a headline. Okay, I want you to just look at this number for a second, 75%. In the world of social media, this one stat tells a massive story about the difference between what we think is going on and what's really happening. And here's the kicker. That 75%, that's the percentage of news links on Facebook that are shared that people who never even clicked through to read the article. Let that sink in. They're sharing based on the headline alone. It's the perfect example of shallow interactivity versus true engagement. So why on earth do we do this? Well, it's all psychology. Sharing something makes us feel like we're part of the conversation, like we're an expert. The simple act of hitting share can trick our brains into feeling more knowledgeable. It totally blurs the line between seeming like you know what's going on and actually knowing. And you know who understands this psychology better than anyone? The platforms themselves. They know exactly how our brains work. They don't just feed you stuff you like. They carefully engineer the entire experience to hook into your brain's most basic instincts. And they do it by weaponizing one thing, your curiosity. The secret sauce here is something called the information gap theory. It sounds fancy, but it's really simple. Curiosity is like a mental itch. It pops up when our brain notices a gap between what we know and what we want to know. And once that itch is there, we feel this powerful urge to scratch it by finding the missing piece of information. And social media platforms are absolute masters at creating these information gaps. They use those vague clickbaity headlines. You know the ones, "You won't believe what happens next." They show you wild thumbnails that make you stop and say, "Wait, what?" And they give you just a little teaser, just enough to make you desperate to know the rest of the story. Each one is a little hook designed to create that itch and keep you scrolling. This brings us to the undisputed heavyweight champion of attention today, short-form video. There is a real science behind why platforms like TikTok, Reels, and YouTube Shorts are so ridiculously good at keeping us completely mesmerized. First off, just look at the sheer scale of video. It's staggering. YouTube is used by 85% of adults in the US. That's more than any other platform. Video isn't just a part of the internet anymore. For a huge number of people, video is the internet. And in this lightning-fast world of video, there's one golden rule that everyone lives by. You have 3 seconds. 3. That's it. If you haven't grabbed someone's attention in the first 3 seconds, they're gone. They've swiped away. That one rule shapes everything about how content is made today. And the data tells the exact same story. Look at these completion rates. Even for videos that are just a minute long, less than half the people who start it actually finish it. And the longer the video gets, the more people drop off. It's simple. Shorter videos win because they're perfectly designed for our busy lives and short attention spans. Okay, so for our last piece of the puzzle, let's talk about the future. The next big evolution in this whole system is, of course, artificial intelligence. AI isn't just tweaking our feeds anymore, it's actually starting to create the stuff we see. And the results, well, they're pretty interesting. So AI's report card on engagement is, let's call it mixed. On one hand, it can give you a little boost by writing better video titles. And get this, AI-generated ads can sometimes do better than human-made ones. But it's no silver bullet. Using those robotic AI voices on TikTok can actually hurt your engagement. And with news, if you tell people an AI wrote it, they might not trust it as much. It's a big reminder that just being efficient doesn't automatically mean people will connect with it. So let's bring it all home. Think about your social media feed like a meal that's been prepared just for you. The recipe is a complex mix of powerful algorithms, a really deep understanding of human psychology, and now a growing dash of artificial intelligence. Every single part of it is designed with one goal in mind, to capture your attention and keep it. And that leaves us with one final, and I think pretty important question. And this one's for you. You've now seen the kitchen, you know the recipe, you know all the ingredients and the secret techniques they use to cook up the meal that gets served to you every single day. So, the only question left is, are you going to change your digital diet?